Comcast. Least original film franchise continues to be produced by ironically named company. Here's yet another Fast and Furious road with no one on it but our main characters.
You're gonna be a great father, Brian.
Wait, did they drag race just to be here for the childbirth? Is there ever a time these guys think, you know what, today is not a day to risk my life. Let's carpool in a Miata for once.
Let's go for a little ride.
Fast and Furious flashback montage opening credit sequence.
Riley Hicks, read your file.
Now I'm going to read the file out loud to the audience.
Is that legal?
No.
But we'll let it slide because it's awesome. Their sex is made better by remembering their former lovers' deaths.
It wasn't that hard to find you, Toretto.
This surprise visit brought to you by Under Armour.
I need your help, Dom. I need your team.
Well, it should be easy to pry them away from their retired millionaire lives in order to take down a crew that does the exact same illegal things they did to become millionaires in the first place just because your old girlfriend is involved. I am not the director of photography on this movie. Everyone at this table enjoys a nice Coca-Cola. Except one, who ordered it, popped the top, and then just left it full. Movie expects me to believe this kind of third-world ATM rigging bullshit is possible. Despite the fact that it's in some sort of container where I can't actually see the food right now. So glad to see these two I didn't care about from the last movie are still together.
Starting a life together.
Aren't we doing that?
Maybe, but something tells me this conversation is going to get interrupted by something, so you can't answer this right now. Also, clearly you aren't, since Tokyo Drift technically comes after this movie and you aren't in it, so clearly you're going to die. At least until the franchise needs you back. Is this a situation these two have been in enough in order to get into formation? And if so, how many times did it work when they were completely surrounded? No franchise in history has done as much to push shitty beer as this one.
Lady's dead, though.
Somehow, despite the fact that I was in the FBI when she died and she was working for me at the time, I don't have any real evidence of her dead body for some reason. And don't give me that because someone else's body burned and they couldn't verify it bullshit either. I'm wondering if she really died, Sunset.
Our target's Owen Shaw.
Depicted here in the middle of a military operation having his picture taken like he's on vacation.
Hey, man.
Of course, this secret meeting warehouse garage has vending machines because why wouldn't it?
Something about... It's on the house.
And there was no quieter or safer way to tell you that.
We getting paid, right?
Yeah, you'll definitely earn that paycheck, Tyrese. I know this place is surrounded by police, but do you put a wire on someone out in the open like this?
I just got confirmation on Shaw. They're going in.
Arresting one man requires all the Interpol.
Police scanners are saying alarms are going off at Interpol headquarters.
You brought us here so you could take down Interpol.
Because much like the police station in Bad Boys, Interpol decided to empty their entire station to go after one dude.
Guys, it's a ghost town over here.
Which is notable, because that has been the case in every other previous movie as well. How did Shaw rig all these columns with explosives that nobody could see? They'd have to be inside the columns, right? How'd he manage that especially in the time he had? Interpol decides in a major operation that roadblocks are for suckers. Man, bullets in these movies are worthless.
Sure, we have 3 cars tailing us.
You know what to do.
You want me to blow all 3 drivers? How are any of our heroes' cars fit for driving after the hail of machine gun fire they just endured? Shaw is like a more villainy Batman, with all sorts of wonderful toys. But this weapon makes you unable to control your car. That's it. All sorts of explosive technology could be implemented here, but this will just end up causing a wreck, which these guys survive all the time. And oh yeah, he survives this.
Oh, Schiffsträger klar.
What? Just now? Brian ninja drives, so this car grenade thing gets knocked off, which is bullshit regardless, but is extra bullshit since it was lodged in the front bumper, where he could never in a million years see it to know its location well enough to do that shit.
Approaching rendezvous point.
Doesn't that mean you both left at specific times and drove at specific speeds, despite traffic and police interference, to get here at the same time? Wrecks are meaningless. This hench girl is not amazed by Brian's survival. However, it is a perfect opportunity to wink at him and establish superiority. Running into things simply does not matter. F you. Also, Hobbs jumps out of his vehicle and lands on a car that, while he's in midair, should be long gone due to things like science. They were not only able to survive the crashes, but recover the cars and drive back with no problem.
You don't turn your back on family, even when they do.
What? But if they did, then they aren't family anymore, according to this motto, right? Somehow, despite never really seeing their faces or knowing their names, this crew is able to find all the heroes' rap sheets with no information whatsoever.
You might want to see this.
A picture that is strangely a surprise, despite the fact that the blonde chick neatly stacked all this evidence into one big file before presenting it to the team. Shaw somehow even has a screenshot of a moment from the first fucking movie.
Yeah, that's the guy I shot.
It's weird that I'm in this picture too, but I chose not to acknowledge that.
I don't remember him.
Amnesia.
You heard that flip car going through those gears.
Sequential transmission.
That didn't sound like a normal engine.
Oh, I guess everyone in this scene gets at least one line. How democratic. Also, this is a scene that could have used a nice long take. This scene is cut to death, and we're not even in a confusing action sequence. But I guess a long take would have required everyone remembering their line.
We find the guy who made that car, we find Shaw.
Because underground auto mechanics who build custom Batmobiles just happen to know the address of extremely careful international criminals.
Kitchen help entrance is towards the back.
This unnecessary prejudice person assumes entirely too much for the audience's amusement.
I don't mean any offense, gentlemen.
This entire scene means offense to me.
Clearly, you're not a baller.
This man's face goes way too unpunched for me.
What's the dude playing on Hunt? Moby Dick?
Paycheck, Tyrese.
It's specific to one handgun, the PSM.
Everything in the Fast and Furious world comes from one freaking source. Making investigations look so easy, I just passed the FBI exam sitting in my apartment masturbating at porn. After a handful of truly terrible line readings, Gina Carano finally explains her reason for being in this film.
Bad shirt.
So this guy's comeuppance is that he has to give his clothes to The Rock? Prejudice is fought one garment at a time, ladies and gentlemen. Also, this scene where they bully this guy into taking off his shirt is so Michael Bay, it makes me ask, how can people pile on the Michael Bay Transformers hate train and still defend this f***ing bullshit series here? What is it that makes you see them as different?
Damn, you need some hedge clippers for that shit.
Hilarity. These women somehow miss the obvious beep this phone makes. Doesn't the gaping hole in this window negate the purpose of having such a secure boot? Also, he keeps his weapons just far enough away to be useless in a pinch.
What is she, a street racer?
Where can we find her?
How do I know?
These guys actually went to a pawn shop expecting the owner to know anything of the whereabouts of the woman who came in to buy guns from him earlier. I guess you follow every lead, but this is extremely worthless movie-wise. Is this how you execute people? God, these are supposed to be professionals. Seriously? Did we need to bring Braga back? Also, this fucker spits out one helpful name before dying because he totally rethought his life choices in the last 30 seconds and became a good guy. Totally. This is one of the only gunshots in this entire franchise to be super accurate. Dude, you had all the space on the right side. It's not like you needed to run in one direction the whole time. The bobbies go out like little bitches, and of course try to apprehend him one by one and don't call for backup. Michelle Rodriguez sort of holds her own in a fight with Gina Carano. Guy who was running from these two a minute ago suddenly feels the need to stay here and fight more dudes and waste more time. Both women survive this without paralysis. Meanwhile, somehow no other cops have been called to the scene, and this fight has gone on for ages. Train that is just now leaving because it's convenient ex machina. Oh, they got their asses kicked. Makes you wonder how they survived those massive wrecks with absolutely no injuries.
If Ivory's dead, he made a mistake.
Letty's been working with this guy for a while now, and is just now coming to the shocking conclusion that he's not that sentimental.
Braga will know what Shaw is up to. I'm gonna pay him a visit.
Don't they have that dude's cell phone, though? He punched a button, and it called one of Shaw's men. Can't you find out a lot more from this cell phone than you can by flying into the US and risking arrest just to talk to Braga? Funny how we never see anyone actually drinking NOS in these movies, but there are always cans on display.
I'm the one that served her up to Braga.
And then did a shitty job actually investigating anything related to her death. I'm actually a shitty bad guy and good guy, as it turns out. Handshaking contest.
Tell me something, O'Connor. How is it you keep running around the world, breaking every law known to man, and yet here I am putting my job on the line for you?
These guys never got along in the fourth Fast and Furious movie, and there was no, hey man, I hate you, but I respect you scene. And we're supposed to believe that this FBI guy gives a shit about nabbing Shaw, who's wanted by Interpol and does most of his crime outside America? Also, why couldn't Hobbs pull some strings on this? Better yet, why doesn't he get somebody to talk to Braga?
It's a 24-hour hold. You need to be out of there by 9 a.m. That's when forensics will run your fingerprints through the national database.
Not to mention, that's when all the assholes who saw your face plastered all over TV during the last movie will suddenly recover from their memory lapse that you're a highly wanted fugitive named Brian O'Connor.
Again?
Man, this guy would be f***ing excellent at CinemaSins. Movie is full of unbelievable bullshit, but this harpoon gag may be the hardest for me to swallow.
So tell me something, because I buried her.
Well, no, you didn't. In fact, this is the first time you've even acknowledged you were around her dead body. Did they not have DNA, dental records, or any kind of real identification? And again, don't give me that some other body burned beyond recognition bullshit.
Humor me, please.
You're a dead man walking. What does it matter? I ran everything, for sure.
Villain spills evil plan details to his enemy instead of just killing him. Phoenix decides, nah, I won't shoot her directly. I'll let a violent expansion or bursting with noise decide this.
Shaw found her in the hospital 2 days later. He went to finish the job.
What told Shaw to go to the hospital? Did Phoenix find this guy Shaw, who was not his boss in Fast and Furious, and tell him, man, I blew up this car and I'm pretty sure Letty died, but you might want to go check the local hospitals and see if she turned up, because I did not verify whether or not she died. Also, this hospital had no idea who Letty was? Didn't call any law enforcement whatsoever? And international criminal Shaw was just hanging around LA looking for random tough street racing chicks? This is some bullshit just to get Letty back in the franchise. Because he's a main character, movie will now allow Brian to win this unwinnable prison shiv fight.
How do you think he knows your next move before you make it? He's got eyes on you.
I'm dying, so I might as well tell you, everything. Also, so far, we've seen nothing that Shaw knows anything about what's coming when it comes to Brian and Dom's crew. In the last scene, the only reason he knew was because this dude called them. In the scene before that, they didn't even know who they were. This is setting up the big Riley surprise later, but she's done a poor job telling Shaw jack 10 full seconds of a nighttime London establishing shot. Bravo, movie. Bravo. Every damn one of these pre-street racing scenes are the exact damn same. For all I know, they shot this for Too Fast, Too Furious and inserted it into this movie. Also, didn't you spend time in this film talking about the Big Brother surveillance state of London? Maybe some street races take place, but neon dance parties with this many people would be quashed in a hurry.
Ready?
Ready to drive, sure, but can you tell me what the course is? Because I literally just got here. It's goddamn Piccadilly Circus, and only one cop shows up to track these illegal street racers down. Come on, we need to stop street racing so we can stop this movie in its tracks even further by having an intimate moment.
Just because you know how I ride doesn't mean you know me.
People with amnesia shouldn't say shit like this to people that obviously know them.
Nice scar. Like this scar in here.
Scar history.
What else do you know about me?
I know your favorite sexual positions, your favorite beer, your tattoos, and birthmarks. Jesus, woman, what's it going to take for you, someone with amnesia, to be open to the idea that someone else knows you very well?
Some kid trying to show off lost control of his car, wiped out right next to you. You're lucky you didn't lose your arm.
Is this girl's entire backstory filled with surviving odds-defying ridiculous car accidents? Okay, I've been giving her a hard time for not trusting him more, but trusting him this much for a sexy hair touch? Now she's trusting too much.
How about this one?
What the f***? Okay, I'm now in camp. You're trusting him way too f***ing much right now.
Predictable means vulnerable, and that means I can reach out and break you whenever I want.
So, do it.
At least when I go, I'll know what it's for.
That's deep.
It appears this inspiring tale has come to an end.
If that's the way it has to go.
Does Hobbs, who is behind Dom, know there's a laser sight pointed at him? Because he did that right on cue. And since he tracked Dom here, why didn't he bring more people to arrest Shaw right now? Good God, man. I would have won this shit already.
You know what would have happened if I didn't put that tracker in your car?
Not to mention spending 5 minutes with Letty discussing scar tissue.
You were able to track Shaw after he left you and Dom, but this guy's smart, so we can only track him so far.
If only we had more people who aren't doing anything right now who could have been there when Shaw went to go kill Dom. If only we had people who were, like, really awesome drivers who could maybe have followed him. Or even better, been there to stop him from getting in his car in the first place. Damn. Oh well, back to the digital surveillance. So, you think you've got Shaw located, and you're going in with 2 people holding revolvers. Rock looks down at the exact spot where the crucial evidence is. Haha, funny, but how many Marvel characters is Dwayne Johnson supposed to be in this movie? He's Captain America.
Will somebody tell Captain America here that requires clearance?
Now he's Thor. Next up, Black Widow.
Yeah, that paint you got from Shaw's place, highly specialized.
Of course it is.
Fine. Whatever you found out, that's for you.
Discount Morpheus. Also, Brian's highly risky, impossible trip to the US to find Braga was basically so he could find out what he already knew. And it's that Letty didn't die, got amnesia, and was recruited by Shaw. Plus, some bullshit Braga didn't even have to volunteer.
Braga said the only way you get near Shaw is if he wants you to.
Information that was strangely volunteered without any good reason, but will help us now. Also, Braga is to be trusted completely. That goes without saying, right? Former cartel leader. I mean, this guy knows his shit, right?
Shaw ain't hitting that base.
He's hitting the convoy.
Great. Now call Hobbs on the phone or radio and tell him that. Then problem solved, right? Right? So you think a huge, heavily armed criminal is coming for this thing, and you decide to move it, with 2 personnel trucks as the only backup.
Let's go!
Military personnel carrying an important component did not notice this military-grade vehicle behind them, clearly up to no good. What caused this truck to start rolling on the ground like that? Also, good guy truck goes flying off bridge, but other good guys driving cargo truck with obvious rear-view side mirrors don't notice it. These everyday drivers in front of a fucking tank blowing through military vehicles on the highway are not in any way amazed or concerned.
So who's got a plan B? Plan B? Plan B? We need a plan C, D, E. We need more alphabets.
That's ludicrous.
Hey! We do what we do best!
Defy the laws of physics?
We improvise, alright?
Oh. Also, that still leaves all of you doing your own thing and guessing. Why not at least talk through the improvisational plan? Also, we'll improvise a whole fucking special place on the highway where we can magically turn around and follow them.
Oh, you lucky bastard.
Lucky that you missed? Or lucky that the motherfucking tank that's been absolutely destroying cars merely bumps into Roman's car after you miss?
Somebody better do something! I got a tank on my ass!
Earn that paycheck, Tyra. You will believe a man can fly.
Let it go take care of the cable.
You need to be outside when the tank gets thrown so something really bullshit can happen to save your life. Why would a fucking tank be impeded in any way by the weight of a single Mustang? Wouldn't the cable break before the Mustang stops the tank? This movie is fast and spurious. This movie took an interesting twist because the remainder of it will be about how Dom and Letty help their friends in the afterlife. Because though they appear to be living right now, I assure you they died. Hobbs and his helicopter arrive way too late to matter, but only because cell phones and radios don't exist in this universe, for just this 10-minute stretch.
Can't believe they stole a 70-ton tank for a 3-ounce computer chip.
Okay, so 70 tons? That tank, 70 tons, were in any way slowed down or stopped by a fucking Mustang. you in the ear movie.
Nobody makes me do anything I don't want to.
Except Shaw, the entirety of this movie until this point. But yeah, I hear you.
So what's our next adventure after this?
Marriage.
How did you know that there would be a car there to break our fall?
Honey, that is really the most minor of the questions that you should be asking as to why you survived all that bullshit we just saw 3 minutes ago.
Some things you just have to take on faith.
1/4 mile at a time. So he's got Mia hostage. Great. Doesn't the greater good still demand they don't let him go right now? I mean, I like Mia too, but let's use our heads here, people.
But this changes nothing.
Hobbs' character changes whenever the script needs him to be good, bad, or somewhere in between.
Words like amnesty and pardon, walk out with them.
We're 6 movies in. I don't think it matters whether or not these assholes are wanted by cops.
Come in, babe.
Of course.
This so-called surprise only serves to make me even angrier about this movie. Also, yeah, like you didn't have use for her anymore planted inside Hobbs' crew. Do you need the surprise reveal now? Why? She can join you at any time. It should be noted that during Hobbs' dumb surprise that Riley's not a good person, he's not holding a gun to the NATO guy anymore. These bad guys are completely in the open and can be shot, but I guess they really care about Mia like the audience does. Actually, I think the past 40 minutes of this movie probably needs an extra 100 sins for no reason. Everyone cool with that? No? Too bad. This movie is really, really hard to swallow on any basis, even if it's just a fun, stupid movie. It's kind of hilarious that Gina Carano, the worst actor in this movie, ends up playing the surprise mole, a character that would have to be the best actor among them to actually pull off the job.
I just jammed every signal up and down the spectrum. Let's move.
So your plan is to go after and attack a guy that you just had right in front of you, with none of the he has a hostage situation changed whatsoever? Why couldn't you jam the signal before he left and just shoot his ass?
That ain't a plane. That's a planet.
Yeah, Tyrese, this runway is long enough for a plane to land, board moving cargo, and I presume take off again, since this movie has no regard for common sense.
She's as good as dead if Shaw gets away on that plane.
Just in case you or anyone in the audience needed reminding of that.
Ride or die.
Now that I've hit my already as far as it goes gear shift, I'm really gonna start driving fast. They brought Mia all the way here, but why? Meanwhile, these assholes don't close the ramp or guard it, allowing easy access for Dom to speed to the rescue. If these vehicles are going 60 miles an hour, then this runway is already over 2 miles long. This is a chick who just got crashed by a car, by the way. This fight is interesting, because you already fought once, but you were both on the same side. So all that was pretend? Or did Letty not know that this chick was a double agent? Which means this fight is just a rehash and I'm gonna call you lazy. Don't you have a lot less weight than you were expecting? Some of the bad guys in their jeeps didn't make it into the plane, and only Dom's car drove in. So what a bunch of bullshit is what I'm saying. You took that harpoon thing with you? How convenient. If the plane and cars chasing it are going at least 60 miles per hour, and they are, then this runway is now over 4 miles long. Dom knew that a precisely timed headbutt would knock this guy so far back it'd knock him out and save Brian at the same time. 2 heavy cars drive off the plane, but the pilots still can't get the plane in the air. They probably forgot about that weight nonsense when they made this scene. Everything about this mission is rescuing Mia, who is now rescued, so naturally Brian drives her right back into the action. Also, Brian just knew this ramp car hitting him would merely pop him up in the air harmlessly, because he's Batman. Wherever this asshole came from, man, I no longer have any clue what the f*** is going on. I'm still pretty mad Letty lived. Runway now at 6 miles and counting, if you're keeping track. But of course, this movie's just for fun, so you're not supposed to give a shit, right? Oh, you mean just now? The Rock fights discount Brock Lesnar. Alley-oop punch. Something random is within arm's length to get out of choking cliche. Hobbs has the luxury of wasting time to throw this to Letty rather than just smoking Riley with it himself. Meanwhile, Riley just stands there and lets all this happen, rather than using her considerable reflexes to tackle Letty or anything that might save her. This movie is the kind of thing 4th grade me made up in the bathtub with Star Wars action figures. I'm pretty sure this runway spans 150 miles. I mean, this chase has been going on without one single turn in another direction for at least 8 minutes. Yeah. Also, these assholes should enter all the lotteries. Impossible things! Excitement! Don't worry, Han. She'll show up with amnesia and working for the bad guys 2 movies from now, and you'll be able to turn her back by giving the history of all her scars. Also, taking out your gun and shooting people with amazing precision is possible at these speeds when you're falling from a jeep that is harpooned to a plane taking off. More thrilling punching! Movie rips off bad guy death from Incredibles, which ripped it off from Die Hard 2, which ripped it off from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Jumping from one speeding thing to another is just like breathing in this movie. Double goddammit! Triple goddammit! All the good guys will survive this. The acceptance of shit like this is why we can't have good movies. Letty, it's just a wreck that kills people. Dom will be fine. Not even at the end of the runway yet, and it's been 12 miles. You can sit back and drink your Red Bull and blab all you want about how these movies are escapist fun and you're not supposed to take them seriously, but I'm still gonna f*** your sister later tonight. The end of the runway finally shows up when the action is over, as if they built the runway for this movie or something. Dom is fine, and I'm okay with that. Wait a minute, I am not okay with that. F*** your romance.
Where's Giselle?
Mia, that's f***ing greedy.
Try to keep him out of trouble, though.
I guess this chick needs to get on eHarmony now and look under all the available widowers. You know, honestly, I think Corona and this franchise are a perfect match. Seriously. Both are enormously popular despite being complete shit with glossy marketing.
You know you don't have to go.
Dom, that's f***ing greedy. Recent love interest is way more cool about boyfriend's other recent love interest showing back up than any real person would actually be. I'm glad these criminals finally did enough wrongs to make it right. Movie thinks that in any world there wouldn't be at least 10 deaths because of this stunt. I'm gonna go ahead and tell everyone, whether you believe me or not, that I called this shit before it even happened or looked at any spoilers. This franchise is not too far away from becoming the Expendables, and this is proof.
To Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
They say most of your brain shuts down in cryosleep. All but the animal side. Guess that's why I'm still awake.
Maybe it's because you don't realize how much you appreciate something until somebody takes it away.
Take the wheel.
Jesus, take the wheel.
You know what they say where we're from?
You do not truly know someone until you find them.
Hey everybody, if you have an interest in a book about disabled superhero kids, I just happened to write something like that. And you can now pre-order the ebook version. The audiobook is coming soon as well.